The shadow descends. The stars trembled as the Krulvor ships moved through space, massive dark shapes that devoured everything in their path. For 3 centuries, they had spread across the galaxy like a disease, consuming planets and civilizations without mercy. On the bridge of his command vessel, Supreme Hunter Vrax watched the latest conquest through cold, multifaceted eyes. The planet below had once been home to the Altarians, a species known for their beautiful crystal cities and advanced quantum technology. Now those cities burned as Krulvor harvester ships descended through the atmosphere. Final resistance has been crushed, Supreme Hunter reported Sub-Commander Krell. The planetary defenses have fallen. Vrax clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. Begin full extraction. I want this world stripped to its core within 3 cycles. The Altarians had fought well, better than most species the Krulvor had encountered. Their weapons had destroyed 17 Krulvor vessels, an unusually high number of casualties. But like all the others before them, superior technology meant nothing against the overwhelming Krulvor swarm. Across the galaxy, news of the Altarian fall spread panic through the remaining free worlds. In an emergency session of the Galactic Coalition, representatives from 37 spacefaring species gathered on the neutral world of Centaurus Prime. Ambassador Zoral of the Filan Republic stood before the assembly, his normally blue skin pale with fear. The Altarians were among our most advanced members. If they could not stand against the Krulvor, what hope do any of us have? The chamber erupted in frightened voices until Coalition President Syra banged her ceremonial staff against the floor. Order. We must maintain order. When the room quieted, she continued, the Krulvor are not invincible. They are biological entities with biological imperatives. They must have weaknesses. We've been searching for those weaknesses for centuries, said General Doran of the Arcturian Defense Force. Their ships are organic technological hybrids that self-repair. Their soldiers fight without fear of death. And their numbers. He shook his head. They breed exponentially on conquered worlds. In the back of the chamber, a small figure stood up. Dr. Lena Vex, the Coalition's chief xenobiologist, was easy to overlook among the taller representatives, but her voice carried clearly. The Krulvor consume because that is their nature, she said. They evolved as perfect consumers, with no natural predators on their home world. They've never encountered a species that could truly hunt them back. President Syra leaned forward. What are you suggesting, Doctor? Our scans show the Krulvor Armada is changing course. They're moving toward Sector 8732, which contains a star system we've been monitoring but haven't yet contacted. The holographic display in the center of the chamber shifted to show a small yellow star with 9 planets. The 3rd planet from the star was highlighted, a blue-green world wrapped in swirling clouds. This is Earth, Dr. Vex continued, home to a species called humans. They're relatively primitive. They've only recently achieved spaceflight within their own system. But our studies of their biology and history show something unique. The display changed to show images of humans in various environments: forests, deserts, mountains, oceans. Unlike the Krulvor, who evolved as consumers, humans evolved as something else entirely. They are persistence predators with remarkable adaptability. Their entire history is filled with warfare and hunting. They've survived multiple extinction-level events on their own world. General Doran snorted. What good will primitive hunters do against Krulvor warships? Dr. Vex smiled thinly. The Krulvor have never encountered true predators before. Humans don't just kill for food. They've turned hunting into an art form. They track, they plan, they adapt, and most importantly, they never give up. President Syra studied the images of the small bipedal creatures. They looked fragile compared to the armored Krulvor. Are you suggesting we contact these humans? Bring them into a war they know nothing about? I'm suggesting, Dr. Vex said quietly, that the Krulvor are about to make a terrible mistake. They're about to hunt the only species in the galaxy that truly understands what it means to be a predator. Captain Olivia Shaw stood at the viewport of the ESS Horizon, watching as Earth shrunk to a tiny blue dot behind them. She still couldn't believe they had made it this far. The Horizon was humanity's first true deep space vessel, designed to travel beyond the solar system using the newly developed fold drive. "Captain, we're ready for our first fold jump," said Lieutenant Frank Morris from the navigation console. "All systems are green." Olivia nodded, trying to hide her nervousness. No human had ever traveled this far before. "Proceed, Lieutenant. Take us to the Proxima Centauri system." The ship hummed as the fold drive activated. For a moment, Olivia felt a strange sensation, as if her body was being gently stretched. Then the stars outside the viewport blurred and shifted. When the view cleared again, a new star shone brightly ahead of them. "Fold successful, Captain," reported Chief Engineer Maria Diaz, her voice filled with excitement. "We've done it. We're the first humans to reach another star system." The crew cheered, but their celebration was cut short when alarms suddenly blared through the ship. "Multiple unknown objects detected," shouted Security Officer Jack Wilson. "They're moving fast, Captain. One large vessel and 3 smaller craft." Olivia tensed. Defensive posture, raised shields. The unknown ship approached rapidly. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, sleek and silver, with strange organic-looking sections that pulsed with blue light. "They're hailing us," said Communications Officer Ben Wright. Olivia took a deep breath. "Open a channel." The view screen flickered to life, showing a humanoid figure with pale gold skin and large liquid eyes. "Earth vessel," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Nathan Cole, representative of the Galactic Coalition. We've been monitoring your system. I must speak with you urgently." Within hours, Nathan Cole stood in the Horizon's conference room, showing the human crew footage that left them stunned and speechless. The images showed massive insect-like ships tearing through space stations, devouring asteroids, and bombarding planets until they were stripped of all resources. "These are the Krelivor," Nathan explained. "They've consumed 17 civilizations in the past 300 years. According to our projections, they will reach your solar system within 6 months." "Why are you telling us this?" Olivia asked. "If they've destroyed advanced civilizations like yours, what chance does Earth have?" Nathan's expression was grave. "Because you humans may be our last hope. The Krelivor have never encountered a species quite like yours." Dr. Ryan Peters, the ship's science officer, looked confused. "What's special about us? We've barely left our own solar system." "It's not your technology," Nathan said. "It's your nature. The way you think. The way you fight." He hesitated. "The Coalition needs representatives who understand human psychology. Will you come with me to Coalition headquarters?" Olivia looked at her crew. They had signed up to explore space, not to fight in an alien war. But if Earth was truly in danger, "I'll volunteer," she said firmly. "My crew and I will escort you back." Nathan's relief was visible. "The Coalition Council will want to meet you immediately. But I must warn you, many of our leaders doubt that humans can help. They see your species as too primitive to matter in this conflict." Jack Wilson, the security officer, laughed harshly. "They haven't seen humans at war, then." As the Horizon prepared to follow Nathan's ship through a series of fold jumps to Coalition space, Olivia wondered what they were getting themselves into. Looking at her determined crew, she felt a surge of pride. Humans had always survived against the odds. They were adaptable, resourceful, and stubbornly persistent. "Set course for the Coalition headquarters," she ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what humans are made of." The Coalition headquarters orbited a massive gas giant, a sprawling space station larger than anything humans had ever built. As Captain Shaw and her crew entered the Grand Council chamber, hundreds of alien eyes studied them with suspicion and doubt. Supreme Chancellor Vereen, a tall being with silvery skin, addressed them from a raised platform. "Captain Shaw of Earth, we welcome you to the Galactic Coalition. However, I must be honest. Many here question why Representative Cole brought you to us. Admiral Cava, a reptilian military leader, hissed in agreement. These humans have barely mastered interstellar travel. How can they possibly help against the Krulvor? Olivia stepped forward. We may be new to your galaxy, but humans have been fighting and surviving on Earth for thousands of years. Fighting each other, said another council member dismissively. Not spacefaring predators with technology centuries beyond yours. Dr. Alec Foster, a human xenobiologist who had joined the crew, spoke up. With respect, council members, I believe what makes humans valuable is precisely our long history of conflict. The council chamber grew quiet as Foster activated a holographic display. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. When we set our minds to a goal, we pursue it relentlessly. Our bodies produce chemicals during stress that actually enhance our performance. He showed images of human history, ancient hunters tracking prey across vast distances, warriors developing new weapons and tactics, scientists working through the night to solve problems. Our adaptability is unmatched, Foster continued. Humans can live in deserts, Arctic regions, mountains, and jungles. We've survived plagues, natural disasters, and our own destructive tendencies. Admiral William Harris, who commanded the small security team from the horizon, stepped forward next. The Krulvor fight like consumers, overwhelming force applied directly. But humans, he smiled grimly. We fight dirty when we need to. The council seemed unimpressed until Nathan Cole projected footage of the Krulvor's most recent battles. Watch their attack patterns, Harris said, pointing at the display. They're perfectly predictable. They always use the same formations, the same tactics. They've never needed to innovate because they've never faced a real challenge. To demonstrate, Harris asked for volunteers from the coalition military to run a simulation against him and his security team. The aliens confidently entered the training arena, armed with advanced weapons and protected by personal shields. Within minutes, the human team had completely outmaneuvered them, using unconventional tactics that the coalition's tactical computers couldn't predict. Impressive, admitted Chancellor Vereen, but small-scale combat is different from space warfare. That's where you're wrong, Harris replied. The principles are the same. The Krulvor expect direct confrontation. They've never encountered an enemy that uses deception, misdirection, or guerrilla tactics. He projected a battle plan that made several council members gasp. Instead of meeting the Krulvor fleet head-on, Harris proposed small, fast-attack craft that would strike and disappear, targeting weaknesses in the Krulvor ships. This plan violates all our established military doctrine, protested Admiral Cava. Exactly, Harris said. And that's why it might work. The Krulvor have never encountered an enemy that thinks like humans do. Olivia watched as the council debated. Many were skeptical, even dismissive of the primitive human approach. But a few, including Nathan Cole, seemed thoughtful. We've tried conventional warfare for centuries, Cole reminded the council, and we've lost every time. Perhaps what we need is something the Krulvor have never seen before. Chancellor Vereen finally spoke. Your proposal is too risky, Admiral Harris. The coalition cannot endorse such an unproven strategy. As the humans left the chamber, feeling defeated, Harris whispered to Olivia. They're too set in their ways to change. But we don't need their permission to fight back our way. Olivia nodded slowly. If the Krulvor are coming for Earth, we'll be ready, with or without the coalition's help. The alarms blared throughout the coalition station 3 weeks earlier than expected. The Krulvor fleet had broken through the outer defense line, destroying hundreds of ships without slowing down. They've adapted their approach, reported a frantic coalition officer. Our predictive models failed completely. Chancellor Vereen ordered an immediate evacuation of civilian personnel, while Admiral Cava mobilized the remaining coalition forces into a desperate defensive formation. Where are the humans? Cava demanded, looking around the command center. Nathan Cole checked his communication device. Captain Shaw and Admiral Harris requested permission to deploy their plan 12 hours ago. When you refused, He hesitated. They what? Vereen asked sharply. They left, with 5 coalition scout ships they'd modified according to human specifications. Kava hissed angrily. Those primitives stole our vessels. In the middle of an invasion. Before Cole could respond, a new alert sounded. On the main display, 6 Krelvor scout ships had broken away from the main fleet and were approaching a small asteroid field. They're sending advance units to secure resources, Kava said. Standard Krelvor tactics. But what happened next was anything but standard. From within the asteroid field, 5 small craft suddenly emerged, moving with incredible speed and unpredictable patterns. They were the stolen coalition ships, but now barely recognizable, painted in dark colors with jagged patterns that made them difficult to track visually. What are they doing? Vereen whispered. The human ships didn't engage the Krelvor head-on. Instead, they darted between asteroids, firing quick bursts at the Krelvor vessels before disappearing again. One human ship deliberately lured a Krelvor scout into a narrow gap between 2 asteroids, where it became stuck. They're hunting them, Cole realized, like predators stalking prey. Over the next hour, the command center watched in amazement as the 5 human ships systematically disabled or destroyed all 6 Krelvor scouts without suffering a single direct hit themselves. When it was over, Admiral Harris's voice came through the communication system. Coalition Command, this is Harris. We've captured 1 Krelvor scout ship mostly intact. We're bringing it in for examination, and you might want to see what we found inside. 2 hours later, Harris and Shaw stood in the council chamber, beside a container holding a sedated Krelvor. The creature was even more terrifying up close. Nearly 3 meters tall with a chitinous exoskeleton and multiple limbs, ending in razor-sharp claws. We boarded their disabled vessel, Harris explained. When we encountered the crew, they reacted in a way none of your reports predicted. How so? Asked Cole. They panicked, Shaw said simply. When they couldn't overwhelm us immediately, they didn't know what to do. When we started hunting them through their own ship, they became completely disorganized. Harris nodded. They've never been hunted before. They don't know how to be prey. The implications stunned the council. For centuries, the Krelvor had been the unstoppable force of nature, the apex predator of the galaxy. The idea that they could be frightened had never occurred to anyone. We need to expand this strategy immediately, Shaw urged. Give us more ships, train more human crews, and let us take the fight to them. Admiral Kava, who had been skeptical of the humans, now looked at them with new respect. You killed 6 Krelvor scout ships with 5 of our smallest vessels. How? Harris smiled grimly. On Earth, we have a saying. The most dangerous animal is the one fighting for survival. Right now, that's us. Chancellor Vereen stood. Captain Shaw, Admiral Harris, the Coalition officially authorizes your hunting strategy. What do you need from us? Fast ships, minimal weapons systems, but maximum maneuverability, Harris replied. And volunteer pilots from any Coalition species willing to learn how to think like human predators. As they left the chamber, Shaw whispered to Harris, "Do you think it will be enough?" Harris watched as Coalition officers already began approaching them, volunteering for the new human-led squadrons. The hunter has become the hunted, he said quietly, and the Krelvor have no idea what's coming for them. Lisa Martinez stood before the transparent containment chamber, studying the Krelvor specimen inside. As the Coalition's newly appointed human xenobiologist, she had spent weeks analyzing the captive alien. Her laboratory aboard the Coalition science vessel had become the most important research facility in the war effort. Record observation log, day 27, she said quietly. Subject continues to display extreme agitation when exposed to human presence. The Krelvor, a massive insectoid creature with razor-sharp mandibles and 6 powerful limbs, pressed itself against the far wall of its enclosure, as far from Lisa as possible. Its multifaceted eyes never left her. Dr. Jarvik, a coalition scientist, entered the lab. "Any new insights, Dr. Martinez?" Lisa nodded without taking her eyes off the specimen. "I'm confirming my initial hypothesis. The Krulvor aren't just physically dangerous. Their entire psychology is built around consumption. They evolved as apex consumers on their home world, with absolutely no natural predators." She activated a display showing brain scans of the creature. "See these neural pathways? They're hardwired for aggression and consumption. But these other areas, the ones that would normally process fear responses, are underdeveloped." "Because they never needed to feel fear," Jarvik mused. "Until now." "Exactly." Lisa approached the chamber, causing the Krulvor to emit a high-pitched clicking sound. "They have no instinctual understanding of being hunted. When faced with an enemy they can't immediately overwhelm, they experience something their brains aren't equipped to process." She turned to face Jarvik. "It's like psychological shock. Their entire worldview is collapsing." Later that day, Lisa presented her findings to a joint Human Coalition Military Council. Captain Shaw and Admiral Harris sat beside coalition commanders, reviewing her data. "Based on my research, I believe we can exploit this psychological weakness," Lisa explained. "The Krulvor communicate through a combination of pheromones and electromagnetic signals. We've decoded enough of their communication system to transmit our own messages." Admiral Harris leaned forward. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "Psychological warfare," she replied. "We can broadcast signals that trigger their newly developing fear responses. Combined with the hunting tactics you've already implemented, we could potentially break their will to fight." She displayed footage from recent battles where human-led teams had successfully ambushed Krulvor vessels. "Notice how they react when cornered. They become disorganized, almost paralyzed with confusion. We can amplify that response across their entire fleet." The coalition commanders looked skeptical, but Harris nodded thoughtfully. "Like wolves howling before an attack. The prey hears the predator and freezes." "Precisely," Lisa said. "And we can broadcast these fear signals directly to their command ships." Within days, the first fear beacon was ready for deployment. A small, stealthy vessel crewed by humans and coalition specialists approached the outer edge of a Krulvor battle group. As they activated the beacon, Lisa monitored the Krulvor response from a safe distance. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Krulvor ships broke formation, their movements becoming erratic. Several smaller vessels actually collided with each other in their panic. "It's working," whispered one of the coalition officers. "They're completely disoriented." Lisa watched as human-led hunter ships moved in, targeting the confused Krulvor vessels with precision strikes. The battle was over in less than an hour, a complete victory with minimal coalition casualties. As news of the success spread, more coalition species volunteered to join the human hunter teams. Training centers were established where humans taught alien allies the principles of tracking, ambush tactics, and predatory thinking. The Krulvor began to retreat from multiple systems, abandoning conquests rather than face the human hunters. Intercepted communications revealed a new term in their language, one that translated roughly as the Shadow Dith, their name for human attack squadrons. "We're changing the fundamental nature of this war," Lisa told Captain Shaw as they watched new hunter teams training. "For the first time in their evolutionary history, the Krulvor know what it means to be afraid." Shaw nodded. "And fear changes everything." Commander Daniel Wright stood on the bridge of the ESS Predator, the flagship of humanity's first deep space fleet. Through the viewport, he could see hundreds of ships, both human and coalition, assembled for the largest military operation in the galaxy's history. "Status report," Daniel ordered, his voice calm despite the tension. "All vessels report ready." "Commander," replied his executive officer, Lieutenant Kelly Reeves. "Hunter squadrons are in position. Fear beacons are calibrated and ready for deployment." Daniel nodded. 6 months ago, He had been a naval officer on Earth, commanding a submarine. Now he led the counteroffensive against the most feared species in the galaxy. The irony wasn't lost on him. "Open a channel to all ships," he said. When the communication officer signaled that the line was open, Daniel spoke clearly and confidently. "This is Commander Wright. Today we take the fight to the enemy's doorstep. For centuries, the Krelvor have consumed worlds without consequence. Today they learn what it means to be hunted. Follow your training. Trust your instincts. Remember, we are the predators now." Across the fleet, human commanders echoed his words. Many coalition officers had initially resisted serving under humans, but the unprecedented success of the human-led hunter squadrons had changed minds quickly. "Begin Phase 1, Daniel ordered. The fleet jumped into Krelvor-controlled space, emerging near a major supply world. The specially designed human vessels, smaller, faster, and more maneuverable than traditional warships, immediately broke into hunting packs of 5 ships each. On the command deck of Hunter Squadron 7, Major Samantha Powell directed her mixed human coalition crew with practiced efficiency. "All ships activate Predator protocols," she ordered. "Fear beacons at full strength." Her squadron's ships darkened, their surfaces absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They moved in patterns designed to trigger instinctual fear responses, quick, darting movements that mimicked natural predators. The Krelvor response was immediate. Their typically organized fleet formations dissolved into chaos as the fear beacons broadcast signals directly into their command networks. The psychological warfare techniques developed by Dr. Martins worked even better than expected. "They're breaking formation," reported Samantha's tactical officer. "Their command ship is attempting to retreat." "Not this time," Samantha said. "All ships, pursuit pattern Delta. Don't let it escape." Her squadron surged forward, cutting off the Krelvor command vessel's escape route. Other human-led teams did the same across the battlefield, systematically isolating and neutralizing Krelvor ships. Back on the Predator, Daniel watched as the battle unfolded exactly as planned. The Krelvor, once thought invincible, were falling back across all fronts. "Sir," called out the communications officer, "we're detecting unusual transmissions from the Krelvor flagship." Daniel frowned. "What kind of transmissions?" "It's a surrender signal, sir. They're requesting to communicate." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. In all recorded history, the Krelvor had never surrendered or negotiated. They fought until victory or death. "Verify that signal," Daniel ordered. "Could be a trap." After careful verification, the signal was confirmed genuine. Daniel opened a channel to the Krelvor Supreme Hunter. The alien that appeared on screen was different from the specimens they had captured, larger with ornate markings on its exoskeleton. When it spoke, the translation system converted its clicks and hisses into words. "Human Commander," it said, "we request cessation of hostilities. Your hunting methods, we cannot counter them. You have done what no species has ever done." Daniel kept his expression neutral. "Your forces have devoured countless worlds. Why should we stop now?" "Because we can offer terms," the Supreme Hunter replied. "Withdrawal from conquered territories. Recognition of boundaries. Our species has never known defeat. We do not wish to experience extinction." As Major Powell's squadron surrounded the Krelvor flagship, forcing its complete surrender, Daniel realized they had achieved what the coalition had thought impossible. The unstoppable wave of consumption that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries had finally broken against the shore of human determination. "Secure the flagship," Daniel ordered, "and inform Coalition Command. The Krelvor are ready to negotiate." 1 year after the Krelvor surrender, representatives from across the galaxy gathered in the newly constructed Peace Hall on Earth. The massive circular chamber had been designed to accommodate beings of all sizes and environmental needs, a symbol of humanity's rapid integration into the galactic community. Admiral William Harris, now serving as Earth's representative to the Coalition, stood at the central podium. Before him sat delegates from over 200 species, including a small delegation of Krulvor. "Today we finalize the Galactic Peace Accord," Harris announced. "For the first time in recorded history, all known spacefaring species will exist under a single framework of laws and boundaries." The treaty being signed was unprecedented. It established clear territories for the Krulvor, allowing them to satisfy their biological imperative to consume resources, but within strictly defined limits. Regular shipments of synthetic materials developed by human and coalition scientists would supplement their needs. In the front row, Captain Olivia Shaw, now Admiral Shaw, watched with pride. The ESS Horizon, once humanity's only deep space vessel, had become the model for a new class of exploration ships. Humans were venturing out into the galaxy not just as warriors, but as explorers, scientists, and diplomats. "The treaty before us recognizes a fundamental truth," Harris continued. "That diversity of thought and evolution creates strength. The Krulvor were unstoppable until they met a species that thought differently, that saw the galaxy through a predator's eyes rather than a prey's fear." After the ceremony, Shaw joined Lisa Martinez in the observation lounge overlooking Earth. Dr. Martinez had become the Coalition's leading expert on cross-species psychology, her work with the Krulvor earning her the highest scientific honors. "Did you ever imagine this when we first left Earth?" Lisa asked, gesturing to the diverse group of aliens mingling in the hall below. Shaw shook her head. "Never. I thought we were just going to explore our nearest star system. Instead, we helped save the galaxy. It wasn't our technology that made the difference," Lisa observed. "It was how we think." Across the hall, Commander Daniel Wright was deep in conversation with a young Krulvor diplomat, something that would have been unthinkable a year earlier. The Krulvor were learning to communicate rather than consume, adapting in ways their biology had never required before. On the other side of the galaxy, Major Samantha Powell led a joint human coalition expedition to regions previously too dangerous to explore. Her crew included former enemies now working together, learning from each other's strengths. Back on Earth, training academies had been established where humans taught tactical thinking and adaptability to coalition species. In return, alien instructors shared advanced technologies and sciences beyond human understanding. Earth had become a center for military strategy and innovative thinking throughout coalition space. "The Krulvor ambassador told me something interesting yesterday," Shaw said quietly. "Their historians have been studying human history. They said they've never seen a species that was both predator and prey, hunter and builder." Lisa nodded. "That's what saved us all. Humans evolved by overcoming challenges, sometimes as hunters, sometimes as the hunted. We learned to think from both perspectives." As night fell over the Peace Hall, the stars became visible through the transparent dome. Those same stars that had once seemed so distant were now highways for human exploration and commerce. "What happens next?" Lisa wondered aloud. "We keep exploring," Shaw replied. "We keep learning. And we remember what got us here, not just our strength, but our adaptability." The galaxy had been transformed by humanity's arrival on the cosmic stage. The Krulvor, once the most feared force in the universe, now studied human behaviors to understand their defeat. Other species sought human insights to improve their own societies. And humans, the unexpected saviors who had emerged from an unremarkable solar system, looked to the stars with new purpose. They had discovered their place in the galaxy not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors, the predators who hunted only to defend, the unexpected counterbalance to forces that had seemed unstoppable. In the peace that followed, the galaxy thrived as never before, guided by the strange wisdom of the species that had evolved at the perfect intersection of predator and prey, strength and compassion, persistence and adaptability. 5 years after the signing of the Galactic Peace Accord, humanity's influence continued to spread throughout the stars. What had begun as a desperate defense against the Krulvor had evolved into something far greater, a fundamental shift in how species across the galaxy approached cooperation, conflict, and survival. On the frontier world of New Terra, Professor Jake Miller walked through the campus of the Interspecies Tactical Academy. Once a simple farming colony, New Terra had become the galaxy's premier training ground for mixed-species crews and combat teams. Jake paused to watch a training exercise in the main field. A team of 6 beings, 2 humans, a Krelivore, and 3 other coalition species, worked together to navigate a complex obstacle course. The Krelivore, once feared across the stars, now served as a tracker for the team, using its heightened senses to detect hidden threats. "Remarkable, isn't it?" said a voice beside him. Jake turned to find Admiral Shaw, her uniform now adorned with the insignia of the Joint Coalition Command. Despite her high rank, she still made time to visit the academy regularly. "I never thought I'd see a Krelivore working alongside humans," Jake admitted, "let alone taking orders from them." Shaw nodded. "They're incredible students, all that predatory instinct, but now channeled toward protection instead of consumption." The galaxy had been transformed in unexpected ways. The Krelivore, their consumption drive carefully managed through technology and treaties, had become valuable allies. Their unique biological abilities, once used only for destruction, now served exploration, resource development, and even emergency response when natural disasters struck coalition worlds. In deep space, beyond the former boundaries of known civilization, the ESS Discovery approached an uncharted star system. Major Greg Foster, son of the xenobiologist who had first identified the Krelivore's psychological weaknesses, commanded a crew that included representatives from 12 different species. "Preliminary scans complete," Major reported his Krelivore science officer, Traz. "The third planet shows signs of primitive civilization." Greg studied the readings. "Life-bearing worlds are becoming rare finds these days. Approach with caution." First contact protocols in effect. The tactics that humans had developed to fight the Krelivore had evolved into methodologies for peaceful exploration. Careful observation, respect for boundaries, and thoughtful assessment before engagement. The predatory mindset that had saved the galaxy now protected new species from cultural disruption. Back on Earth, in the headquarters of the Galactic Coalition, Lisa Martinez, now Director of Sino-Cultural Relations, met with a delegation from a newly discovered civilization called the Vorathi. "Your species fascinates us," said the Vorathi leader through a translator. "You are neither the strongest nor the most technologically advanced in the Coalition, yet all defer to your wisdom in matters of survival and adaptation." Lisa smiled. "Humans have always existed in the middle, not the fastest or strongest predators, but not the weakest prey either. We learn to survive by understanding both perspectives." This unique position had made humans the natural mediators of the galaxy. When conflicts arose between vastly different species, humans could understand the instinctual drives that motivated each side. In the Galactic Archives, the most comprehensive knowledge repository ever created, historian Ryan Cooper finished recording the final chapter of The Predator Paradox: How Humans Changed the Galaxy. The text would be translated into over 300 alien languages. "The arrival of humans in galactic society," he dictated, "represents the most significant evolutionary turning point in recorded history. For the first time, a species emerged that combined the strategic thinking of a predator with the cooperative instincts of prey, the technological innovation of builders with the adaptability of survivors." As night fell across the galaxy, countless stars shone on worlds where humans now lived and worked alongside species they had once never dreamed existed. The universe had proven vaster and stranger than humanity had imagined, but humans had found their role within it, not as conquerors or victims, but as teachers, protectors, and bridges between worlds. The predator instinct that had saved the galaxy from the Krelivore now guided it toward a future where strength served wisdom, and the hunt gave way to harmony.